I welcome you all to this session in continuation of the previous session. In the previous session, we have discussed about meaning of liquidation, modes of liquidation, and meaning of liquidator and his function. In this session, let us discuss little more about liquidation of companies. As you know, liquidator is a person who is responsible to realize all assets, collect dues if any from the shareholders. See, sometimes if shares are partly paid, then that unpaid capital has to be collected, or in case the company limited guarantee, that amount guaranteed by shareholders on liquidation has to be collected, or sometimes if amount is insufficient to pay off creditors, then he have to make a list of contributors and that due or those dues from contributors be collected, and final payment to all liquidators. There is surplus payment, final payment to the shareholders. When he is interested in this work, he need to produce an account at the end, either to the court or to all creditors or to all interested parties. Hence, he will prepare a statement of account. In this chapter, you are having a practical aspect about preparation of liquidator final statement of account. In order to record all these daily payments and receipts, the liquidator maintains a cash book. He has to submit an abstract of cash book to the tribunal in case of compulsory winding up, and to the company in case of voluntary winding up, sometimes to the creditors in case of voluntary winding up by the creditors. In the event of affairs of the company being finally wound up, closed down, he has to submit a final statement of account. Such a statement is termed as liquidator's final statement of account. While preparing liquidator final statement of account, out of cash available, see, cash available in the case sense, cash in hand, cash at bank, all sale proceeds of assets realized, that is the total amount available. This total amount available has to be applied towards use from the company by following particular order, because at the end the ultimate risk will fall on equity shareholders, hence they will get their claim or interest back at the end. So first, as you know, the secured loans are having floating charges or charges on assets of company. Say for example, if company need a loan, say 1 crore, while raising that loan from bank or such other financial institute, company need to offer security of its asset. So now building has been given as a security for raising loan. Then in the event of winding up, that building has to be sold, and the sale proceeds of building must be applied towards the settlement of loan on that. Such a creditors having secured or given asset as a security are called secured creditors. So this is the order. First, secured creditors will get their claim out of securities given, then legal charges. The legal charges in the sense all legal charges, fees and other things paid for the settlement, making correct, curing, it is said, defect in the title deeds to the assets, and the recovery of assets, sale, sometimes auction and other cases, and some there may be a claim from some creditors which is for excess with an actual. In all these settlement case, legal charges. Then when liquidator is appointed and asked to do certain work of settlement, he is entitled for a remuneration. So he has a right to take remuneration. After taking its remuneration, then liquidation expenses connected, normally incurred by him. Then payment to debenture holders and other creditors having floating charges on the general list. Here different security and floating charge. You see, when stock is given as a security, maybe for the purpose of hypothecation, stock will change. And say now 10 lakh worth goods, stock is given as a security for raising a loan. By the time the liquidation takes place, there may or may not enough stock, or stock value may be 10 lakh or less. Sometimes more, or some say if debenture is 5 lakh and say 10 crore worth asset is given as a security, then they don't have a charge of 10 lakh or 10 crore. That is only the amount due to them, maybe 1 crore. Floating charges, this asset value will deteriorate, but their secured amount will be same. So that any general asset, not only one. If in that case stock offered as 10 lakh, by the time of liquidation the stock value only 1 lakh. The difference maybe another asset. Then overriding preferential payment, certain debts need to be paid. It is there before other payment, other creditors. Such a creditors got preferential rights. Even some need to be paid before that, as per section 326, are called overriding preferentials, for which you will get a clue in the problem. Then unsecured creditors, you see, out of creditors secured, then overriding and preferential creditor, remaining all unsecured creditors. Once creditors are settled, so debentures having a floating charge. If they don't have floating charge, then has a unsecured creditors. Then preferential shareholders. Preferential shareholders, you know, has a preferential right over equity shareholders as regards disbursement of dividend, the right to receive dividend, and repayment of capital in the event of winding up. See, that's why such a category of shareholders called preferential shareholders, having preferential right as to dividend and repayment of capital over equity shareholders. Now, this is the orders to be followed. Preferential creditors are those unsecured creditors who, on account of special provisions in the Companies Act, have priority of payments over the other unsecured creditors. They include overriding preference payments and preferential payment of preference credit and other creditors. Yeah, overriding preferential payment. As per section 326, certain dues are to be settled in case of winding up of the company even before payment of preferential credit under section 327. That notwithstanding anything contained in this act or any other law which is in force, the winding up of company, see, workmen's due, any amount due to the employees, debts due to secured creditors to the extent such a debt rank under clause 3 of the provisions. Then the sums towards wages or salary offered in section 325. 325 says that which are payable for a period of 2 years preceding to the winding up order, or such other period as may be prescribed. So, especially to workmen's due or some external debt which is specified as override. Then preferential payment under section 227, the Companies Act, which deals with certain preferential payments. All revenues to the government, cess rates due to government, that is central to state and to local authority, the relevant date and having become due and payable within 12 months immediately before the 1 year due. Then all wages, salary for a time, fees, work and salary earned wholly or in part of the commission the employees. So there, period not exceeding 4 months. ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2 ವರ್ಷದ ಅನ್ನೋಕ್ಕಿದ್ದು ಓವರ್ರೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್, ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ 4 ತಿಂಗಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. Before 11 date, subject to the specified limit of 20,000 per claimant. All accrued holiday remuneration, so employees will have earned salary, earned leave on their account, that amount. Payable, retirement or death, or termination. Unless company is being wound up voluntarily, merely for the purpose of reconstruction or amalgamation, all amount due in respect to contributions payable during the period ESI should be paid. ESI, gratuity, PF, any compensation. Point E says, as per section 14 of Workmen Compensation 1923, all sums due to any employee from a provident fund, pension fund, gratuity fund. Then expense of any investigation held in pursuance of section 213, 15, in so far as they are payable by the company. ಅದನ್ನು ಕಂಪನಿ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಕೇಸ್ ಹಾಕಿದಾಗ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಅಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯುನಲ್ ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಖರ್ಚುಗಳು. Company Acts now makes a distinction between term officer and employee and workman purpose preferential payment. So officers do have got no priority in payment. Workmen's dues are to be paid in priority. In other debt, the remaining creditors fall in this category. Person who claim to be creditors must prove their debts within the time fixed by the tribunal or by the voluntary liquidators. It's all about this section.